Hey you, thank you for joining me. Today we're going to welcome a new employee to the shop. It has been too long since we've done this, and I appreciate you guys checking this one out. Let's dive right in, and you're going to notice this section behind me is going to look a little different because, yeah, I did this about 2 months ago. Always a bit nerve-wracking to do this, but today we're going to cut an 8-inch hole in that wall. Let's go. First, I got to clean up. So, truth be told, what you see me cleaning up are essentially pieces that I make in production. Now, maybe that's a little foreshadowing on why I'm punching a hole in the wall anyway. But once this is all cleaned up and everything's good to go and I got a nice flat work surface, I'm gonna take it upon myself to make a circle cutting jig on the laser here that's gonna attach pretty neatly to the palm router that I've got. I've got the Makita version, and yeah, it's pretty easy to do. You just map out the holes. And again, this is a very crude version. There's not much adjustability, just every inch or so. And I'm gonna go ahead and take down some French cleats. Now, I have made a second career predicated basically on French cleats, and this does hurt just a little bit, but I will be putting them back in some fashion later on. You'll see that later. But we're gonna take a very long drill bit. I bought these at a garage sale years ago, never knew when I was gonna need them, but when you do need something like this, they come in very handy, no doubt. So pick yourself up some at Harbor Freight or wherever you can find them, even online. They're really great. Now, my measurements should be correct here. I'm using an 1/8 inch router bit, and the center of that router bit is dead center with the hole here, which is gonna give me a little bit bigger than an 8-inch hole. I figured I'd just kind of throw that out there to let you know this is probably an 8.05-inch hole. I did that just to make sure I had enough clearance. I'd rather it be a little looser than a little tighter, and this is the process. You just introduce the router bit into the wood, and you slowly spin it around by introducing it further with each pass. And we got a great fit. The router bit I'm using, by the way, is actually the one that I offer. It's part of the Glimpse bit set. I'll link those down below. They're pretty cool. I think they're the best CNC bits on the planet, but they worked well for this too. I wouldn't recommend cutting aluminum with these, but I used the same bit for both sides and it worked like a champ. So this is an 1/8 compression bit, and yeah, check them out. So as you can see, I used a piece of scrap to give me a spacer block so the router had somewhere to rest and also to anchor to. And now I'm taking a razor blade and we're just gonna kind of cut away some of this foam, the spray foam insulation. And I'm gonna go back inside, I'm gonna punch this hole out. First punch, well, almost there. At least we knocked the block off. And the second one, well, my daughter saw me editing this and she said, "You punched it." Hard to believe, when I started this channel, she was only 6 months old. I got videos of her where I was building a bar where she was sitting in like a Johnny jump up thing on top of the bar while I was working on it. And now she's 8 and she is just the highlight of my life. Oh my goodness. So anyway, moving on, proud dad moment for sure. We're gonna go ahead and install the louver, which is basically an exhaust port that has a little bit of a flange there. You can see it's kind of held in place just by gravity alone. It's got a pivot point at the top. And once I've got this installed, after I've gone ahead and put some tape on the inside, this is just standard foil tape that you would use in any ductwork. We're gonna use some self-tapping screws and attach the thing on all 4 corners. Then I'm gonna take that same tape and kind of finish up the inside portion of this, giving me a nice airtight seal. And we're gonna take a little bit more security with this airtight seal as well. And we're gonna take a bead of caulk around the edge. We're gonna put that in between the wood and the actual aluminum, and then spread it all around. Now, once that's dry, take a 90-degree elbow that's adjustable. And again, we're gonna use some more of this foil tape to make sure we have no gaps and we're nice and airtight, at least as airtight as we can be. And then we're gonna attach a canvas hose. This is essentially a flexible ductwork hose made of canvas and a spiral wire, and there you go. So the next few pieces, I'm gonna run through the upside down orbital sander mount. You're gonna notice these are fairly large. These are gonna be some support brackets that are gonna be basically for shelving, and I need these to hold a lot of weight. So I've made these because, well, they're really just for me personally. I haven't offered these publicly on the website or anything else like that. Let me know if you want something like this. And again, this is gonna be a heavy product. It's gonna take up a lot of space. So I don't know how much shipping is gonna be. We'll work that out later on. But the reason I'm designing a new system like this is because, well, I had an accident. I had a French cleat failure. Look at this picture. Pretty interesting. Now, I'll detail more of this in an upcoming video because it just happened and it's pretty raw in my brain. But I realized that I had 500 pounds supported only on 4 anchor points. It was actually over that. I'll give you the exact number in the video. But this came crashing down when I wasn't in the shop, thank goodness. And again, more on that later. But this new system I've developed, I know is plenty strong. I've got anchor points all over the place, and you can see here the beauty of the French cleat. I mean, my face says it all. You can just move your dust collector You need to move it 2 inches, it's easy. See that? Now, you've noticed here, I'm putting up some acrylic, and that was essentially the straw that broke the camel's back in my bad experience. Acrylic is very heavy, and I didn't realize that I was gonna be putting over 600 pounds on only 4 anchor points, and guess what happened? Well, yeah, it came crashing down. Again, more on that later. Another thing I didn't do on the previous system was anchor it to the wall with only 4 screws. Now, I get it, you're supposed to be able to move French cleats at the drop of a hat, but 4 screws are worth it, and this is plenty strong. This is what I'm doing if anything is gonna take any kind of weight from here on out. Okay, so, you recognize this stuff right here? Yeah, it is going all the way across, all the way around. Of course, I'm gonna clean it up a bit, but yeah, I'm just putting it all the way around. Got a little bit of work to do at the panel though, so let's do that. So they're all sacrifices you make when you're adding electrical to an existing system. Today, we're actually gonna cut a hole here and basically run this up this wall and around. Gonna keep it out of sight for the most part. It's gonna come down. You're gonna be able to see the exposed conduit, but that's not a big deal. It's gonna be in the corner. I think this is gonna work, so let's go. I also want to thank my friend Richard for coming over. He was a big part of this. He's actually an electrician. And I was like, hey man, I need to run some wire. He's like, hey man, let's just do it together. I'll help you out. So big shout out to Richard. I really appreciate it, brother. So to make this opening, we're using a zhuzher or an oscillating multi-tool to get that gap, and that looks pretty good. So that wire now, kind of get a glimpse of it up there, and at that squeeze clamp comes all the way down into the hole we just made. Now it's time to tie it in. Punching out one of these breaker box coins, as I call them. We've got access now with the wire going through into the breaker box. We're gonna attach the breaker as well. There was one spot left, and I'm glad it was there because the new machine is gonna need a dedicated circuit. Now I'm just putting the conduit in place and making sure it doesn't flop around by attaching it to the wall with some of these brackets. Pretty easy stuff here. I'm gonna go ahead and let Richard wire everything up while I'm gonna work on something else. We just set up a camera and let it run. You're gonna see this process go pretty quickly. So this shop has seen a lot of changes over the years, and if you were one of the people that came to this channel because you saw that shop build, hit me a like down below. Leave me a comment letting me know what video brought you to this channel. I really would like to know that kind of information if you don't mind, and I appreciate the support thus far. Now, back to the electricity work. All right, ready? Let's flip the breaker. Okay, here we go. Woo, yeah, feels good. So that was the most anticlimactic testing of an electrical circuit, which is probably a good thing. You don't want too much going on. So to cover this hole, I'm not gonna use the original piece. We're gonna just kind of cut something else on the lasers. Why not have fun with it? Yeah, good touch. So with this new system I've created, again, I do want your thoughts to know if you think a cantilevered storage system is worth selling. Let me know. I will put it on the market for sure. And also the Nova 63 from Thunder is now in the shop. This is the new employee. She is doing such a great job. And I'm confident in this system here. As you can see, it's over the new piece of machinery. I needed to hold 5-foot pieces of Baltic birch in this machine. That's why I got it. It's called the Nova 63, meaning 63 inches across. The other machine you can see I've turned into an acrylic monster. More on that later. I absolutely love this new setup with everything above the laser. I can just pull sheets off, put them in, and good to go. Cut things like this. This is a 60-inch long piece of Baltic birch that fits in here just lovely. And these are actual, well, these are pretty cool. These are like pop-out kits that I make, and I give these away. If you order over $75 worth of product from aglimpseinside.org, one of these comes your way, no questions asked. You can also buy them. Sometimes I get orders for 10 or 20 of these at a time. It's pretty crazy. And yeah, they're great. So if you want to check us out, aglimpseinside.org, look what we got for everything French cleat to keep yourself organized, and pick you up one of these for free as well. So not only is this machine great for production, working every single moment of the day, it also does really cool custom work too. So these are some medallions I made for a buddy of mine. These are gonna go in the back of his cutting boards. And yeah, you can do all kinds of stuff with this thing. Well, there she is, my Nova 63 from Thunder Laser. This thing has been an absolute beast in the shop. It works out of the box. This is not a comprehensive review. I will give you one of those in months to come. I have done all of my wood cutting on this thing exclusively since I've gotten it about 2 months ago. And the fact of the matter is, I'm turning the other one into an acrylic cutter because acrylic can be a kind of a messy situation. This one will cut acrylic, okay? No doubt. But that's what I'm doing. I've got wood, I've got acrylic, I've got CNC. This is the operation, and I thank each and every one of you taking a big part in what we're doing here. Guys, stay tuned, subscribe to the channel. You wanna hear more about this in the future, I'll give you that. But again, got some pretty cool projects underway. Can I show you one real quick? Case it in resin. Look at this thing. Ha! It's gonna be a table. All right, stay tuned.